Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeener. Listen, I think I committed the cardinal sin of falling asleep before I got to the end of Monday Night Raw because
Wow.
I did not see what it is that I'm looking at right now. I pulled up SmackDown results and Raw results so that we could discuss. And I did not realize that Solo lost.
He did.
I did not realize he lost. And so I'm scrolling through and I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, hold on now. I don't know what this means at this point because I know that the agreement was if Solo wins, the bloodline leaves him alone. But if Solo loses, then Jay hand delivers Solo.
Yes,
to
whatever
Roman.
that means.
Whatever that.
Which I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, I have no idea exactly what the meaning of that is. But
a lot of people are going off and saying that, like, hey, he has to rejoin the bloodline, but I'm not quite sure that's exactly what that means.
Yeah. So what are your
Nor
thoughts?
do I think that's exactly how it's going to play out, anyways.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that because there's a lot of interesting wrestling to discuss, and I am looking forward to talking about all of this. But I do have to admit, right? Running a podcast can be fun. It can also be a trial. You try new things, you attempt stuff. The simultaneous podcasting as well as playing WWE 2K didn't quite work out how I wanted. There were audio issues. If you watch the podcast or you listen to the podcast, because it did go up, the first, maybe if you split the podcast up into like eighths, the first eighth of the podcast, your vocals are doubled.
Okay, well, there you go.
But the back end of that, the 7/8 that remain, your vocals are normal. I couldn't figure out why that was until I got into editing, right? And when I got into editing, I realized that every time I introduced the game's audio, for some reason, I guess maybe it's because the game's audio was picked up on like display capture.
Yeah.
And display capture essentially captures whatever is on your primary display.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul there. And we were playing 2K26 on PlayStation. But in order to record the footage from 2K26, I had to use PlayStation Remote Play on the PC. I just had the game on a separate monitor, right? So I'm assuming whenever I turned on display capture to capture the game audio, because Discord is on a secondary screen, it still counts as a display. And so when I would turn the display capture's audio on, it was capturing the game. It was capturing the Discord audio as well as getting everything, as well as the normal Discord audio that I'm already tracking in. So it recorded it twice every time we were playing the game.
Yeah.
And it made the quality of the video, ladies and gentlemen, god awful. And so I had to make an executive decision in a moment. And so, like the other things that have gone into the great beyond of the Lariat Lounge vault, whose key I do not know where it is, there's footage that you will likely never see. There's footage that you will likely never see. But fret not, because what this means is that you will get dedicated WWE 2K26 content from Skeener and I that is absent of us talking about the dismal world of WWE and back into the function of 2K26 that you may enjoy. It looks like people tend to enjoy that. The likes are okay. Yeah. And I just turned on this extension on my browser that that reinstitutes the dislike button. Oh, so I can see the dislikes.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they actually liked it. We're about to find out a lot about the community. So if you guys have not been liking the videos, I'm about to find out. So, do me a favor and drop us a like. That's the thumb with the up, not the one with the down. But before we get into all of that, Skeeter, please let everyone know where they can leave a thumbs up for the Lariat Lounge, not the one that's down. Don't do the Batista thing. That's not cool. But if you want to leave us a thumbs up, or if you just want to actually listen to the podcast or check out any of the WWE 2K26 stuff that we're putting out there for you to all to ingest.
You can catch the Lariat Lounge on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search up the Lariat Lounge. That's where you'll find all the content we've ever put out. That is not where you will find the video from last week, I guess, but you can find everything else we've ever put out. PLE live streams, the podcast in video and audio format, anything else we do that'll go up on YouTube. The podcast still goes out on all the traditional platforms in the audio format on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your shows. That's where we are. We're over on Instagram. Give us a follow at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. Get your merch over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search up the Lariat Lounge. We got 10 great designs over there. And as always, the email inbox stays open at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
Listen, so when you go on YouTube, I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like, okay, wow. So it looks like the audio version of last week's episode is up for our SummerSlam reactions.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely did upload the video. Where it is, I have no clue.
Yeah, I was going to say, that made sense to me because I never saw it go up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I don't see it. And I went on to Filmora, where I do my editing, and it told me that the upload had been completed. Now, I don't know. I'm going to have to check and make sure that this was sent to the right channel, because I've run a couple channels over the years. And I'm wondering if I sent this to the right channel. If it is, there's a mystery episode out there, if you can find it.
Somewhere on YouTube.
I wonder if I search like episode 66, WWE SummerSlam reactions, if I will find it on another channel. Let's see, folks. Let's see. Let's pull up the screen here so everybody can see what we're doing. So let's see. The Lariat Lounge, episode 66. Episode 66. Okay, there's the audio. It's episode 66 of someone else's podcast, not ours. Maybe it's not up here. Maybe I got lied to by my own system. Not cool. But I will figure this out. I'll try to figure this out before we get to uploading this week's episode. But I'm going in a little late tomorrow to work, so I should be able to get everything up tonight. But anyway, we appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out with us, kicking it with us, enduring all of the technical difficulties, as God knows it always seems like there is one. But tis show business, as they say. So, we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it moving, and we're going to talk some wrestling. So, hey, enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. Turn this fan on in here because it is hot as hell in here. What's the weather like in Milwaukee?
Humid. Quite humid. 80 degrees and real hot and humid.
Oh, so you kind of right where we're at right now. It's a little hotter here. I think we're like it's starting to trickle down. So right now, I think we're in like the high 80s, low 90s. But yeah, super humid. It's like it rains just enough to keep things unpleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a little wet here as well.
All right, so let's start with SmackDown, brother. So I want to start with one of my favorite things in professional wrestling. That is call-ups and debuts. I love when WWE gets an infusion of new talent, because it can only move forward, even if it's only a little bit. Sometimes they call up people and it's like, the needle moves a little bit and then WWE doesn't do a whole lot, but it's still a needle move in a direction, right? I can appreciate that. So I don't know a whole lot about this person, but I'm looking to learn more. So let's start at the end of Friday Night SmackDown. Charlotte Flair is wrestling Jade Cargill, and Charlotte of course, has to end up fighting against the odds of Jade Cargill and her baddies. And Charlotte ends up being defeated by Jade. And then the baddies jump in the ring and they're beating down Charlotte. And then Alexa Bliss, her music hits. Alexa Bliss comes out. She's standing in the aisle and she's got something behind her back. And she reveals what's behind her back, and it's a Lily doll. Now, I thought Lily was retired, but Lily is back, and she unveils this Lily doll. And as you know, she's sitting there looking kind of I don't know what you would call that, kind of devilish, a little evil. She does this little, is it like the under the chin wave? Is that what she did? It's like something,
I believe so, yes.
Something along the lines of that, some under the chin wave. And she does this, boom, lights go out. Pitch black. I'm thinking, okay, who is about to show up? Because there's no one that comes to mind that I would think would be teaming with Charlotte and Alexa versus these two. And it's certainly not Rhea, right? Because she's not coming back till next year and she's got other things to do. The lights come on, and standing on the top of the ring post is one Tatum Paxley. And Tatum Paxley proceeds to do a dive off of the top rope outside the ring onto Jade and her baddies. And she then gets back in the ring and she's standing with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, who are on both sides of her. They raise her arms, and we have a new member graduating from NXT onto the main roster. It is one Tatum Paxley. Skeener, I have to ask you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think someone like Blake Monroe feels that Tatum Paxley is brought up from NXT after her and seems to be already put in a more prominent spot than she has been? And she got weeks and weeks and weeks of vignettes after vignette after vignette. And I believe when she came out on the screen, she attacked someone, but it's been so damn long, I don't even remember who it was. And we haven't heard anything from it since, because this was before SummerSlam, and we haven't heard anything from it since. And now Tatum Paxley is here, and she seems to be put in a more prominent spot than she was. So I don't mean to kind of, throw this curveball at you to kind of like fuck with you or anything, but it was something that I was thinking about. I want to say maybe like yesterday when I was playing 2K26 and I had Blake in a match, right? And I was just thinking, what happened with her? And now we've got Tatum Paxley. If people are doing like I was doing, and you're not familiar with Tatum Paxley, I went and I looked her up online. And I went and did a little bit of research on her. I pulled a couple NXT matches. Didn't watch them fully, but I watched the portions where she was prominently featured, right? And she seems like an interesting enough character. I hear her theme song all the time in 2K26. I didn't realize it was hers.
Love the theme song. I love the music.
I didn't realize that All the Demons was her theme song. Yeah, your thoughts on Tatum Paxley's call up, and then the other thing that I asked you about with Blake Monroe and kind of like hopscotching right past her level of relevance.
Well, I'll take the Blake Monroe thing first. I don't know where she's been. I don't know what the issue is there, but yeah, she debuted. She attacked Julia. I think did she attack someone else the next week? I don't remember, but there was at least the Julia attack, and then we haven't seen her hardly at all since. I don't know if she's been doing main event matches or just doing nothing, but yeah, pretty interesting that nothing has happened there. I don't know. We kind of saw the same thing with Royce Keys, I guess, but don't know. I mean, I don't know how Blake Monroe feels because I don't know why she's not being used. I don't know if she has some sort of issue, if there's something else going on, but I really have no idea. It's been odd, unless it was just like they thought a total flop, her debut, and it just didn't get the reaction they wanted. I don't see why they would give all that hype and then just abandon it after essentially a week. So I have to think there's something more going on there, but maybe not. Who knows? But as far as Tatum Paxley goes, that is what I was spoiled on when we were playing 2K. When I opened social media, but that is my own fault. But I enjoyed it. I think It was a fun way to introduce her. If you're not familiar with the gimmick, she goes along quite well with Alexa Bliss, and her bringing out the Lily doll is kind of an homage, I would assume, to the fact that Tatum would have doll versions of the wrestlers she would get obsessed with on NXT.
Okay.
She would have like Barbie doll versions of them, and
Yeah.
she's like the creepy, obsessive, weird girl,
Okay.
essentially.
Oh,
So
that's kind of cool.
yeah, fits in quite well. Yeah, the character work is good. I like it. I think a couple years ago Dave Meltzer called it like one of his least favorite gimmicks of all time. So that's how you know it's
Yeah,
decent.
you know, it's solid.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to see where they go. I think it's been time for her to come up, and we'll see where it goes. But I think it could be interesting if we'll see if she continues with this pairing with Bliss and Charlotte, or maybe not. But I think there's some fun stuff there. It's like Bliss brings in another creepy girl for Charlotte to play off of. I think that would be fun, but we'll see where it goes. But I was excited, and I think it was a good debut. Definitely a big spot for her to debut in.
Do you think Charlotte should get a bit of a creepy edge to her? Like, not full on creepy. Like, there should be a spectrum, right? There should be a spectrum because none of these people really operate in the Wyatt Six range.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Alexa has, since being touched by the Wyatt Six, she has, kind of got a bit of darkness to her character, right? It's not overstated. It's very underplayed, but it kind of leans on it, particularly when you were doing a lot of the Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair entrances together. She was the darkness to Charlotte's brightness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got Tatum, who definitely fits more in the Alexa Bliss range of things. But according to the way you kind of broke that down, which I think you did a great job, she is very much in a different lane than Lexi. Like, Lexi seems a bit more dark and in a supernatural kind of sense. And then Tatum she's like an obsessive compulsive, you know what I'm saying? Like, psycho chick. And I like it.
That is how yeah.
I like it. It's very interesting. But does Charlotte just stay like the straight person in this? Like, you know what I'm saying? The straight man to the other acts? Or does Charlotte kind of continue to introduce new elements into her character to keep her continuing to be fresh?
I like her as like the polar opposite right now.
Okay.
And her just being like, what are you all doing? Like, I'm a little uncomfortable with this, but and doing it that way. But also, I mean, yeah, it would be fun to see her, kind of also start to incorporate that. I think there's plenty of ways they can go with it.
I agree.
I just think it's another one of those pairings that could be fun to watch characters that are on such different ends of the sports entertainment spectrum interact.
I agree. I agree. I mean, listen, one thing is for sure. We talked about this many episodes ago, and it's a overarching topic or a point of discussion, and that is the changing of the guard, right? And you get these periods where you have a cohort of professional wrestlers who are at the point in their careers where they have more years behind them than they have in front of them, and you get the opportunity to bring in fresh faces, new talent, and just to see where they fall on the card when they do get called up. Who do they get the rub from? Who do they get the endorsements from? Right? And it's just really interesting to watch. We all have been privy to the rub that Obafemi got from Brock, right? And we're looking at Braun Breaker, who got the rub from Seth Rollins, from Paul Heyman, more specifically, right? And you're looking at Tatum Paxley, who is being brought in, and she's brought in right underneath the wings of two bona fide Hall of Famers when they retire, right? I think Alexa Bliss has earned that spot, and Charlotte has absolutely earned that spot. And to be brought in underneath them, I mean, it just puts you in a great spot. I mean, we had the same thing with with Lyra when she came up, right?
Mhm.
She got thrown right in with Becky Lynch and Bailey and just brought into the fold. And now you look at Lyra, and Lyra is just an established character on the roster now after a couple of years. And I think that's the way it should be, which brings more emphasis, in my opinion, Skeeter, on why I mentioned Miss Monroe. You know what I mean? Because she kind of came in on her own, and who she was kind of paired against was immediately an opponent. And that opponent was also somebody who was not, is talent that was not utilized properly or did not get over the way WWE thought they were going to. And that's Julia, who we also have not seen since Blake attacked her. But, I am excited to see what Tatum does. She has a very interesting character. And honestly, after seeing her debut, it made me kind of want to watch a little bit of what is it? Is it Main Event? The other show that they put on?
Yes. Yes.
It's kind of made me want to check that out because I kind of scrolled through Main Event and you see on like WWE's YouTube channel, you'll see Main Event up there, and there's people who are wrestling on Main Event who are sometimes just conspicuously absent from the main card, despite the fact that they're on the main roster.
Mhm.
And some people have been called up. You don't see any more of them. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's interesting to see where these people are. I'm excited to see what Tatum does. But let's hop to the top of the show. So Cody is out there doing the Cody thing, being a sore loser. And, he wants Punk to, what does he want Punk to do?
He wants Orton. He wants Orton to come to the ring.
Oh, right. Well, he wants to ensure that Punk didn't know that Orton was going to show up. And then Punk showed up to make it clear to Cody that he did not know that Randy was going to show up. And then, of course, they dropped the infamous when you want another shot,
Yeah.
just say when line.
Mhm.
And then KO's music hits. And KO obviously comes out to a thunderous applause. And he comes to the ring and he pretty much cuts a promo on Punk, which honestly, like most people, are stating that they don't really like Punk, that they've never liked Punk. And KO has always thought that Punk was, what did he call him? He kind of alluded to, I guess, the idea that like Punk can't be trusted or something, or like Punk is a snake or something. And I don't know. I thought the back and forth was, if I'm being honest, I thought the back and forth was fun because KO is back. I think the verbal battles, once they figure out where they want to go with this story, is going to be better. But I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I'm going to be honest with you. This felt so recycled. Like, this felt so recycled. Like, how many people are we going to cycle through the idea of like, I don't like you, Punk. I've never liked you. We did this with Seth. We did this with Roman. And now we're doing it with KO. Like, if that's the reality that we're playing off of, this idea that, Punk went away and he made the business hard for everyone, and all the people who are here who are of any prominence really don't like him, okay, that's fine. I feel like you can utilize some of this as undercurrent for other things, but it doesn't seem like those other things, they either don't make their way to the surface until later on in the feud. But whatever the case, that's what I kind of got from this. It felt like recycled content, just with somebody who I'm really interested to see how they deliver it. And it did not land for me the way that I wanted this interaction to go. Still excited to see what they do. And the match between these two, when it happens, I am insanely excited to see because, one, Punk in his return has not wrestled somebody like KO yet. And KO's moveset is one that I would be very interested to see how far Punk is going to go with some of these moves, because KO's got a very interesting moveset. And some of the moves that KO does look like they hurt a lot, even though I know he's a pro and he makes these things safe. But your thoughts, Skeeter, on this promo battle, the first one of many, between Kevin Owens and CM Punk?
I wasn't as disappointed with it as seemingly you were. I thought it was solid. I mean, it wasn't anything blow away. It wasn't the most memorable promo battle of all time, but I liked it. I definitely get you feeling that I get the recycled feeling and criticism, but I think that's just kind of like that's a lot of that is the CM Punk like feud and formula. It is what it is. Like it's when you get a veteran that has been around, it's probably like, you see it a lot. I get it. I get where you're coming from. I enjoyed the tone though. I enjoyed it being a little understated at this point. They didn't get too loud about it in a way until the end. Just KO kind of the theme of I think he said I get to win that title and humble you and kick your ass at the same time. I like that. And then Punk, he does well, you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for me, which I mean there probably is some truth to that. Like CM Punk was the first real indie guy to make it big. And then, you have the Kevin Owens and the Sami Zayn and the Daniel Bryan generation coming in there with other indie guys. There's a ton of other names, Seth Rollins. But yeah, I thought it was good. We'll see how it goes. But was it an A plus? No. Was it a C plus? Also no. Like I thought it was a solid. I thought it was a solid start for me. But I see where your criticisms are coming from. But like, I just accept that that's kind of like that's the CM Punk feud, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I accept it as well. And all of my criticism should not be interpreted as being levied towards the Kevin Owens element in this feud, as well, or at least in that promo, because CM Punk's
CM Punk called him
response,
fat. How about that?
he did. He in a roundabout way.
Said that. What? I didn't even think it was too roundabout.
He said that they called me skinny fat.
Yeah. So what do you think they were waiting on?
What do they think they were thinking about?
They were waiting on you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a roundabout way, he didn't just outright say, "Hey, fatty."
That's new. CM Punk hadn't called too many people fat. So there you go.
No, and listen, I guess he's got some contextual jabs that are reserved for each one of the feuds that he can interchange with the other things that, he's stated. I don't think that this was bad. And I wouldn't say I was disappointed. I just I expected maybe more than what I got. Maybe I set myself up because KO I feel like is pretty good on the microphone and he delivers very convincingly. And the things that he said felt genuine because he's very good at that, right? And so that felt good. The content of what was delivered. I mean, these are two pros here, right? Their delivery was top notch. The promo, technically speaking, top tier, A plus. The content of it, some of it has been done so often, so recently that it felt like, I mean, we've been here before already, at least twice this year. So, it was kind of a little bit disappointing in that sense for me. And Punk's response of, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. There's a lot of stuff he said to Seth as well. So it wasn't bad. And I'm hoping that as this feud continues, which when are they supposed to be having their match?
I don't.
I felt like they already stated when they were going to have it.
Did they? Oh yeah, or Kevin said it to Sammy right backstage.
It's going to be.
He said it's going to be in Toronto.
Okay, so I don't know if that's a PLE or if that's at a Raw.
I know it's just a SmackDown.
Okay, it's just a SmackDown. Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, I don't think this feud is going to live and die on one match. Honestly, I don't think this is going to be a one-on-one feud. I think Sammy's going to get involved somehow. And, the three-way dance between them, I think, is good. That would then mean that this is a continuation of Sami Zayn and CM Punk. because that did seem like that felt like it was a quick way to get the belt off of Sammy, right? And you just make Sammy as this interim champion to put the title back on Punk. But if Sammy is still involved in this story, then what that means is Punk winning that title was just the beginning of this. And that's good. I like it if it's just the beginning. Sammy should stay involved, I think. He should interject in a way that makes Kevin's path towards the championship much harder. And yeah, I think you end up having like a three-way between these gentlemen. And, who comes out on top of that? I'm not entirely sure. I've heard a lot of interesting conversation online about WWE not needing to play so tightly with the champions. If the stories are good, you can move the titles around a little bit and not have to have your top guys with the championships around their waist all the time. And one of those things they were talking about was involving someone who's not in this feud. And I will wait till we get to that person because he's not on either show this week. But he is tied up in one of the storylines. And when we get there, I'll go into further detail about that because I cannot say that I completely disagree with that sentiment. But I'll tell you what, one person who seems to be definitely positioned to completely step away from a title scene to enter another one is Trick Williams. My man just got straight up beat by Baron Corbin at SummerSlam. And then he demands his title rematch. And then on SmackDown, he gets hit with the belt when the referee's not looking and beat for the 1, 2, 3. I mean, aside from the fact that the match victory wasn't completely clean for Baron Corbin, dude, he's 2-0. He's 2-0, and he's lost his rematch. And Baron Corbin was then attacked by Carmelo Hayes backstage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're clearly marking an end to Trick Williams' United States title picture position, and they're opening him up for something else. But I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, man? I think it seems pretty cut and dry here that they're moving Trick away from this easily.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised Corbin still had the furry belt,
Me
which
too.
looks pretty odd, especially with him as he rides out on his motorcycle.
Right.
It is a little it's that image. The title did not fit that portrayal, but I'm hoping by this Friday we get a shaved belt. So yeah, Trick is definitely moving away, and I'm excited again. I mean one of the maybe few people that is pretty happy that Baron Corbin's back. I think this is why you rehire a Baron Corbin is to beef up the mid card, have a guy that can win in the U.S. title, and then help put over a guy like Carmelo Hayes, which is seemingly what I think is we're heading towards here. Is that we weren't going to serve Trick up to Carmelo, but we can't have Carmelo beat Baron Corbin. And then you're right. I think bigger things are on the horizon for Trick. Yachty still at home nursing that interesting table bump he took.
Yeah.
But we'll see where they go on this week because this is the first time really on the main roster that we have seen Trick put in this spot where he's 0-2 against Baron Corbin. He has excuses, but he hasn't been served up this kind of back-to-back defeat. So we'll see interested to see how he spins it and they spin it. I think obviously pretty soon we're going to get the Trick Williams declaring for Money in the Bank promo, and we'll go from there. And I think he will be one of the favorites to win it, as we've talked about for a few weeks. But I'm not unhappy with what we've seen at all.
Do you think Baron Corbin has, and this is no shade to Baron Corbin because like we talked about before, I like Baron Corbin. I thought he was super interesting and
this sounds like
guy.
Something you say before you throw some shade to Baron Corbin.
You can call it shade. I just call it truth. A truth through observation. Right? Do you think that Baron Corbin has what it takes to carry a feud that is interesting with Carmelo Hayes.
Hey, that's some shade to Carmelo Hayes too. That I feel like that's more shade to Carmelo Hayes
Why
than
you say
Baron
that?
Corbin. Because it's like, how good do you got to be to carry Carmelo Hayes to an interesting feud? Is essentially what you're asking. That's
No,
how
not
I take it.
necessarily. Not
Yeah, that's
necessarily.
how I want to answer the question. Is we'll see.
Well, listen,
I need the best of both of them for me to care about this. So that's how I'll answer that.
so here's my thing. So when Carmelo Hayes was feuding with Ilya Dragunov during the U.S. title
Don't remind
open,
me.
well, I got to, because you were talking about was I throwing shade at Carmelo, and I told you that I wasn't. And here's the reason why I'm not. Because when we look back at that feud, if you can run the tape back, folks, Skeeter and I were of the same thought process that feud was lacking of something. It just wasn't as interesting as it could have been. Why? Because you had Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov. And as great of a wrestler as Ilya Dragunov is, he was a supporting character in this story with Carmelo Hayes. Now, whatever it is you may want to think about Carmelo, I like Carmelo. But the fact of the matter is that feud was not super interesting. It was not super interesting. And I just don't think that they played very well off of each other. And I think that what Ilya was bringing to the table was kind of milquetoast. It was very milquetoast in a way that, God, I can't remember who it was. We were hoping that she would flesh herself out. It might have been Lyra early on.
I think it was Lyra.
It was Lyra early on. And then she got in the feud with Becky Lynch and totally came out of her shell. And, it was kind of milquetoast between Ilya and Carmelo. But that showed me that Carmelo is a great talent. Sometimes you need a really good dance partner to bring your best work out of you. I don't think Ilya was it. Baron Corbin, I like, but Baron Corbin has never shown, at least in my opinion, that he is a type of guy that can be the functional dance partner for someone. I can't remember a memorable Baron Corbin feud.
He was working with the tribal chief. He made the tribal chief eat dog food, brother.
That was memorable for... no, hold on. That was pre-tribal chief.
He made the big dog eat some dog food.
And nobody cared about the big dog. And nobody cared about Baron Corbin. And it was a low point in Roman Reigns' career. That is universally accepted. That was a low point where they had totally jumped the shark with the big dog thing, right? And who was there for the jumping of the shark moment? Baron Corbin.
I don't think there will be any dog food.
I don't think so either. I think it's probably been prohibited. Baron Corbin was most interesting to me when he was Happy Corbin, right?
Yeah.
And that was some really interesting stuff that he was doing. But what was present during Happy Corbin that's not present in this version of Corbin or any previous version of Corbin, right? Color, theatrics, character work. It's very difficult to sell these I'm a badass guy because I'm a badass guy kind of characters. Like, they are sometimes a hard sell. We've had these same criticisms about other characters that are maybe slightly different, but all in the same vein of I'm dark and I'm mean because I'm mean and I'm dark, or I'm a tough guy because I'm a tough guy. Tag in Aleister Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same deal. It's like, what makes you interesting is not what you're putting forth on the screen. And it doesn't translate. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm really worried about Big Cass, because there ain't a whiff of Enzo Amore around. And I said it before.
No, there's not. I know you were up here saying he was for sure coming back.
That certainly doesn't
that
sound
was
like
you,
what
right?
I was saying.
That was you,
that certainly
right?
doesn't sound like what I was saying.
Somebody on this show said that. I don't know
on
who.
this show said it. I think his name rhymes with Skeeter. But
maybe.
I said that we cannot count on that, because we have not heard anything from WWE that Enzo is coming back. And you stated very pointedly, and I agreed with it 1,000%, and I still do now. I think you teed this up, and then I slammed it home, right? Which was, you better have something lined up for him that is interesting, Because if Enzo does not show up, right, you teed it up with the crowd did not have enough time to start chanting for Enzo, chanting for wanting Enzo. And I finished with they better have something teed up because if they don't, you may have a hard way. Now, we were partially wrong in the fact that when we got Cass again, we didn't get Enzo chants. I don't think I heard a single Enzo chant. But I am worried because Big Cass is playing one of these characters that I don't feel like has a lot of credibility. He doesn't have a lot of credibility. And it's like you're just in my way. And it's like, it's boring. It is boring. You have to really have something. There has to be like an it factor to you that makes a character that is so generic like that really shine. And I don't think Big Cass has it. I don't think Baron Corbin has it. I genuinely don't. And that is based on my observation of seeing these people in the product. I think that you're going to get a short-lived feud with Big Cass and Javon, where Javon goes over Big Cass, right, to elevate his stock. And then Big Cass is going to be in the mid-card wrestling individual people from MFT. Oh, no, they're not even around anymore. It's just Talatonga and Tamatonga.
Different show.
Don't move
for
him.
one thing.
They'll move him. They'll move him to where the mid-card talent is. And, Baron Corbin.
MFT has Haku around.
I think
and
that
you
is,
are still poo-pooing that.
I think that is an attempt by WWE to land this plane. And I don't think it has anything to do with Tama or Tala, if I'm being completely honest. I like Tama Tonga. I feel like they should have leaned way more into that stuff with Shinsuke because they're queuing up some stuff with Shinsuke right now. And if the word is to be believed, who is potentially coming over from Japan?
I don't know. I haven't looked into this, but Shinsuke did tell us he is not alone.
He's not alone. And I heard something online. I'm not sure it is, but it's somebody who Shinsuke has ties to from New Japan who is rumored to have signed a contract with WWE. And he could be debuting very soon. He may skip NXT and come straight to the main roster. I just can't remember the gentleman's name. But I thought that the stuff with Tama was really interesting in those interactions with Shinsuke. And then you had Finn, right? They all have New Japan ties. That was interesting. I think you bringing in Haku now is a Paul Ellering AOP situation.
Forgot about that.
Where you're trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to do one last ditch effort to put these people over. And
I still believe in AOP. I don't know why that didn't. I still don't understand why that never worked.
I think
did they just suck?
I think they suck, dude.
Suck?
I think they weren't. I think it wasn't. They're big dudes, right?
That's a good start. That's always a good start.
Hey, listen, don't get me wrong. Listen, if you're a big guy, it'll get your job back, Big Cass. Like it'll get your job. It'll get you in the door, right? But I think what Tala Tonga has that Big Cass does not is personality and nuance in his personality.
See, I disagree there. I think Cass has personality. He has good timing. He has good delivery when he speaks. I think he needs, you were right about there needs to be more depth than the I'm a badass sentiment.
Yeah.
Or at least needs to do that against people that it's more impressive to do it against. I don't think anyone is super impressed that you can beat up Dragon Lee after his match.
True.
Everybody beats up Dragon Lee after his match. Even Rusev could beat up Dragon Lee after his match. And
true.
Everybody beats up Dragon Lee after his match. So, it's got to be a little better. It's interesting that they are throwing Big Cass in there with Javon Evans because I don't think either of them, for their own good, can really afford to lose that feud right now, right? Unless they get an interesting way out of it. But we'll see. I mean, where did we even start this? Oh, with Baron Corbin and Carmelo.
Yeah.
But the same thing kind of applies. I think Baron Corbin has those tools, but we do need to do better than we have in the past. Speaking directly to what you're talking about is, if it's just, I'm a badass and I'm going to beat people up, there isn't a lot of depth to that. especially when you're doing that in the mid card.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it against an impressive opponent, like, I mean, could you get better analogs than Dragon Lee and Carmelo Hayes? Like, it does fall a little flat.
Yeah. Do you think Baron Corbin's look has anything to do with why he doesn't get over the way that some think he could?
Maybe a bit. I mean, I don't know. He's over with me, so I can't speak for with anyone else. But I mean, probably a little bit. I mean, he doesn't have, he doesn't look like Big Cass. Let's say that.
No, he doesn't look like Big Cass.
Who, still, I mean, Big Cass looks like $1 million. But you are right. Like, we got to do something a little different. But I think Big Cass has the potential. I really do. He just needs things to be set up the right way for him.
Yeah, he does.
He needs a little help. He's a guy that has the potential to be really good, but like he can't get there on his own. He's good, but he ain't that good. Is essentially what I'm saying.
No, I'm with you.
Like he needs to be portrayed in the right way. Some people are good enough that it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
I mean, you put Obafemi in these same angles. We talk about this completely differently because there's just an innate wow factor in charisma.
Agreed. This is true. But then this also speaks to just the idea too that like Baron Corbin just does not have that innate charisma and that wow factor. And so,
correct.
I think when you don't have that, your portrayal on screen and your gimmick is so important. And honestly, Baron Corbin is proof of that. He's proof of that because he was very interesting when he was Happy Corbin. When he was Happy Corbin, he was very interesting. And I kind of feel like it showed that he had this range in his personality and that he could do some interesting things that were not your typical Baron Corbin. This I'm tough Baron Corbin, ride motorcycles, lone wolf. Like, okay, that was great. And then he was what? He was a sad Corbin.
Yeah,
that was
bum
awesome.
Ass Corbin.
Bum ass Corbin.
When he lost all.
That was great. I love that. And then Corbin went away, and now he's back, and he's back to riding motorcycles Corbin. Which, listen, at least I'll say this: at least Baron Corbin, every time he comes around and he's trying to do something, they give this man some new music. And I can appreciate that. He seems to be very intent
good music
on like having a rebrand that includes his entrance music, which, I listen, as an entrance dude, I can appreciate that. So somebody online, and I don't keep names, folks. Let me just be clear. When I say somebody online, this is not me making shit up. Okay. This is because I see these things online. My brain notates what I observed, but I don't keep the names of people who make random comments online. But someone online put in the idea that Chelsea Green, who they did remove the interim. Now, we were talking about this, right? And my thought was,
now she broke her face.
Is she injured?
She broke her orbital bone.
What?
Yeah, on SmackDown.
I didn't even catch that. So who injured her?
It was during the match because they did that. Did they do a match or no? Yeah, they had a match.
Yeah,
against Fatal Influence.
It was Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green versus Fallon
Henley and Laney Reed.
Reed. And she's legitimately injured.
Yeah, she confirmed it. Yeah, she had to go to the hospital. She's got a broken orbital bone.
So they're gonna. So all right.
We'll see.
So the WWE Women's Champion, which was Rhea Ripley, gets injured, and then they do the tournament. Chelsea Green wins it and is the interim champion. And then she goes on, does the little press conference after SummerSlam, and she pretty much tells Michael Hayes, look who's on top now, right? Then they announced that Rhea Ripley is probably going to be out until next year. And so they remove the interim. They make her officially.
She shows up on SmackDown wearing a shirt that says permanent champion.
Yep. They remove the interim.
It immediately breaks her orbital bone.
So we're probably going to have the WWE Women's Championship removed from Chelsea Green.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
All I'm going to say.
I mean, we do not know anything other than she announced and confirmed that she has a broken orbital bone.
I don't know. So here's the thing. Rhea Ripley, I believe she wrestled with a broken orbital bone. I believe that was when she was wearing that mask.
Mm-hmm. Undertaker did it when he wore the mask.
So it's not unprecedented for a wrestler to wrestle with a broken orbital bone. So she can do it. If Chelsea Green is who I believe she is, I don't think she is going to allow, if she can help it, her WWE Women's Championship reign, the first one of her career, to be halted by this injury. I believe she will put on a mask if she's cleared to do so, and she will wrestle right through this. I feel like...
I don't know if she'll wrestle through it, but I don't think... I think generally the recovery, unless it's like, super bad, which I don't think it was, I think she just won't wrestle, but she'll be on TV.
Here's my concern, though, and this is why I mentioned this, right? When you said, I don't know if she'll wrestle, I feel like at a certain point during Rhea's injury with her orbital bone, she wrestled. She wrestled with that mask on. That mask was to protect her orbital bone, and Taker did it too. So I'm hoping that Chelsea will wrestle, because the idea that you just stripped Rhea, who was off of TV for how long before, they had to pull that title off of her? So we've had the WWE Women's Championship missing from television for a significant amount of time. You know what I'm saying? And then you just get it back on television, and then you're going to sideline it again to keep it on the waist of Chelsea Green. And this is not me talking bad about Chelsea, because I love Chelsea. But I don't know if the company loves Chelsea the way I love Chelsea. And I feel like maybe they did this great experiment.
Chelsea. They just gave her a huge moment.
Right, but here's the thing. They gave her this huge moment.
Do they love her as much as Rhea Ripley? No.
No, but here's the thing. They gave her that moment, Skeeter, because they thought they were going to be able to take it off of her. That's why they made it interim, because they were hoping that Rhea was going to be back so that you could easily turn around and take it back off of her, right? That was the position they had. That was the position you had. You thought that Rhea was going to come back and that Chelsea was going to have a very short reign and that she was going to take the title off of her.
Well, short meaning a couple months.
Listen. I felt like if they were going to take that title off of her when Rhea came back, I didn't think they were going to run a whole feud. I thought they were going to do the same thing they did with Sammy and Punk and take it off of her in a short period of time.
Right? Yeah, as soon as Rhea comes back, yes.
Now, but here's the thing. We didn't know when Rhea was going to come back. So that could have been next week on, on SmackDown, or that could have been a month from now on SmackDown. We didn't know, right? But they would put that interim tag up there to let everybody know this is not your actual WWE Women's Champion. She is just a placeholder, right? That's why it was such a nice, smug smear of the face of Michael Hayes, right? For her to be made the permanent champion, because Rhea's not going to be back to take the title off of Chelsea and put it, back on Rhea. So you get that cool t-shirt, you get that interesting moment. Now she's got a broken orbital bone. The idea that WWE is going to again sideline the WWE Women's Championship from competition behind another injury just does not seem feasible. Back to back.
Then you strip her of the title. Those are your only options.
And that's what worries me, right? Is that you strip her. Now,
they're not going to do that.
You don't think they're going to strip her of the title?
No.
I hope they don't strip her. Okay? I hope they do not strip her of that title. Do I believe what it is that I'm hoping in? Not sure if I do. I'm not sure if I believe it, because I think you have a viable option that I think they are more than willing to exercise. And that viable option, my friend, is one JC Jane. So I think you've got Fatal Influence, who are currently the women's tag team champions, right? Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed. Rounding out this whole thing is supposed to be JC Jane, who was originally putting her sights just recently on the Women's United States Championship?
Yes.
I think she called her shot, right? Okay. Who's the Women's United States Champion currently? Who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares? Because it's like it's not even relevant right this moment.
It's not even,
we guessing.
Who beat Julia?
And still crickets.
Right?
Question mark. Like
it's Tiffany. It's
okay,
Tiffany.
Again.
Yeah.
Tiffany Stratton. Listen, like Tiffy. But listen, the fact that we had to guess, listen,
that's not a great sign.
Not a great sign, right? And so, it is what it is, and hell, Tiffany's in this storyline, and we couldn't remember that she was the U.S. champion.
Yeah.
But I think you have Tiffany with that belt. You've got Chelsea Green as the WWE Women's Champion. She's injured now, right? Do I think you have an angle put into play, fast-tracked, right, where somehow or another JC Jane becomes your new WWE Women's Champion? And then you have every member of Fatal Influence with gold, and then you bring to fruition what you set up when they first attacked Paige and the Bellas, which is we are going to run this entire division. If I was in the writer's room, Skeeter, obviously I wouldn't want this to happen to anyone. And I love Chelsea. I hate this for her. I really do. But if I was trying to make good on something that had fallen in my lap, you take this opportunity to legitimize Fatal Influence. You've already been building this, right? This opportunity has just happened. You put that title on JC Jane. You make her the star that you believe that she is. You make Fatal Influence into the predominant women's faction in WWE, not just SmackDown. WWE. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you just make that shit happen. It seems like the story makes itself. You could put Tiffany fighting for Chelsea's honor, but don't miss the opportunity to crown JC Jane and just go ahead and legitimately make another star. Because when Rhea does come back, that would be a feud I would love to see. Rhea coming back for the title that she never lost, right? And having to now compete against JC Jane, who is your current WWE Women's Champion, and have to fend off Fatal Influence. You know what I mean? To do it, you could drop the title back to Rhea if you really wanted to. Or what my hope would be is that Fatal Influence proves themselves to be a very marketable draw, and you capitalize on the opportunity to cement new stars. But that's just my opinion. I like JC Jane a lot.
I don't think Chelsea's going to be off TV, or they will strip her of the title, and I don't think they'll take the title off her. If they did if they had to for some reason, what you laid out is a good option, I just don't think that's going to be necessary.
Yeah, I mean, look, you had Nia Jax and Lash Legend in the ring afterwards, standing over. Well, what did she? Oh, she had Chelsea's belt in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like this belt is going to go up for contention, and Nia Jax is going to be fighting for it, and JC Jane is going to be fighting for it.
Don't get me excited with the possibility of champion Nia Jax.
Listen, I think it's more than possible. I think it's more than possible.
I just don't. I think Chelsea Green is your champion until Rhea gets back still, regardless.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow what they do.
We will.
We'll find out what I will say this. I bet you Michael Hayes is backstage laughing his ass off. Maybe
Enzo will show up. You never know.
No confirmation on that one, folks.
You never know.
I will say this. I bet you Michael Hayes is backstage laughing his little old ass off. Like, you walk out there with that damn t-shirt and then look what happened to you. Should never put that title on you in the first place.
The internet and reality TV shows will never make me hate Michael Hayes. A goddamn legend of the business.
He is. I don't care for how
he says one thing about everyone's favorite B+ player.
Listen,
and gets all the heat in the world.
Hey, I'm not giving him all the heat in the world. I'm saying I didn't
I'm just
like
saying.
that
I'm
saying.
just saying the internet is.
Oh, well, listen, don't say stupid shit and you don't catch the rap of the stupid ass internet. You say stupid shit, you win stupid prizes. Listen,
Well, the stupid shit they hate him for now is that he had Jey Uso pushing for Jey Uso to win the Rumble last year, which was the right call. Then everyone just decided to hate Jey Uso, as the internet does.
oh, and that's why they don't like Michael Hayes.
He pushed for Jey Uso to win the Rumble, and then the fans turned on Jey Uso. So then when someone said maybe Braun Breaker should win the Rumble this year, he said, well, we don't want people to turn on him like they did Jey last year, which is right. And then the internet just got mad that like they were onto their shit, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can't put a ton of stock behind the internet as a collective, right? Because there are plenty of voices, not saying this is you, but like there are plenty of voices on the internet who have differing and dissenting opinions from one another, right? For me, my thoughts are always like whenever somebody speaks on like the collective of the internet, they're like, "Oh, the internet hates Jay." I'm like, "Okay, so what we're talking about are the very loud vocal people who get heard everywhere. Because if you're content with something, you're like, I'm good. If you're content with something, you're good. It's the people who aren't content with their steak who are crying about the onions on their steak. That's a Talladega Nights reference, folks, for those who don't catch that. I use that all the time. And I feel like I say that to people and they look
I
at
do
me
not
like,
remember that from Talladega Nights.
okay, so Ricky Bobby's dad, they take him
Yeah.
out for the steak dinner,
Reese,
right? With
Bobby,
the kids and mom, right?
the
And
Applebee, correct?
yes, and Reese cannot help but fuck up the family situation, right?
Correct.
And so their food comes out, and he's like, "I'm sorry, darling. I don't mean to be a pain, but I ordered my steak with no onions." You remember this? And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." He said, "No, I think you meant to put the onions on my damn steak." She's like, "Reese."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then he gets kicked out of the restaurant because of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. Now I do.
I swear I use it all the time when I'm describing situations like this, right? And it's like people look at me sometimes and they don't catch the Talladega Nights reference and they're just like, onions on steak. Okay. I tell you, you gotta have been there. Like we know you know.
Not that this is relevant, but so one of my favorite movies of all time
Okay.
is the Waterboy. Love me some Waterboy.
Mm.
And so I have not browbeaten, but my love has transferred to my wife.
Okay.
And she says she quotes it all the time at work, and none of these young people out there get any of the references.
Yeah.
Do you know how perfect it is for a movie to have quotes about the brain pain and her be a neurologist and she uses it and nobody gets it? It's the brain pain, coach.
It happens. It happens all the time. One of my favorite movies of all time is Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
And I love that movie. And
the youth are definitely not getting those references.
Oh, they're not getting any of those references, dude. I use all the time, like if I come into like the break room or something, right? And I come in and there were snacks, but they're now gone. I always say, way to eat all the chips, Kip. And then nobody gets it. And it's fine. I get it. Right? But nobody else gets it. Nobody else gets it. But my wife and I laugh all the time about Uncle Rico and the conversation that he has with Kip when they're on the porch and they're eating those steaks, right? And he's reminiscing about high school football.
Yeah.
And he's like, how much you want to bet I could throw a football over the mountains?
Over that mountain. Yeah.
Yo, the mountains are so far out there in the distance. What are you smoking, dude? What are you smoking? This dude is like in his late 40s and he's still talking about coach would have put me in, would have took state, no doubt in my mind. It's like, dude, you are living in like 25, 30 years ago, dude. Relax. That's why your wife left you. And where are their parents? I'm not gonna go on a rabbit hole, but like, where are their parents? They live with their grandma. Their grandma is constantly at the sand dunes, right? Like, It's just an awesome slice of America movie. It's like you have no idea where this movie takes place, what era this movie takes place in. It's just a cross section of life for regular ass people in some regular ass town. And God, cult classic. Love that movie. If you've never heard of that movie or you have no idea what I'm talking about, do yourself a favor. Take a list, write down The Waterboy, write down Talladega Nights, write down Napoleon Dynamite. Watch those movies. Those are good movies. They're fun movies. Then you'll get the references because I'm going to use more of them on purpose now. All right, so Cody confronts Randy because Randy does show up.
Randy did. Yep, Randy showed up.
Did Randy actually get to say anything before Cody came out?
He said like a couple things, but nothing very meaningful.
I'm about to say because I don't think he got too many words out before Cody came out. But then he did speak in when he was standing in the aisle.
Yeah, gave him the old. You asked for this, Cody. You wanted the best version of Randy Orton. This is him. But then I realized the best version wasn't going to win that title, but the worst version of Randy Orton will.
It's a nice spin on the promo that he delivered earlier this year for WrestleMania before Pat got involved.
Yeah.
Like if I'm being real, it was a nice.
When's that album come out? I feel like, is it this week? Is it tomorrow?
What's that?
Pat McAfee's album. Yes, it is. August 14th. The Diary of a Polarizing Figure.
Is it a music album?
Yeah, brother. Oh, it's going to be ass.
Oh, it's going to be hot garbage. It's going to be hot garbage. And I genuinely hope with every fiber in my being.
Find some details.
I genuinely hope with every fiber in my being that the internet, and you remember what I just said about like when people say the internet collectively, right? I hope the internet at large roast his ass. I hope they eat that shit up and tear it apart because it's going to be hot garbage. And the fact that Pat McAfee, I never imagined, I would have never thought if you had told me a year ago that I was going to detest Pat McAfee the way I do, I don't think I would have agreed with you. I didn't have any reason to really dislike the guy. I kind of liked how he was on commentary, right? He had a decent match the first time against Gunther, but he shouldn't have gotten in the ring the second time. He shouldn't have gotten in the ring the second time. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't as good of a story. But Pat was doing Pat. I never watched his podcast. And so I didn't really care about Pat McAfee outside of WWE. When he injected himself into this Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes feud, that is when I absolutely lost all like for this dude. And I wanted to like his inclusion at first. If it did not come at the expense of that feud, and it absolutely 1000% did, right? And the fact that this was utilized by him by way of his management team to get him more over, right? To sell what show he was going to be on or some movie he was going to be in. And he then segues this into an ESPN deal that gets a bunch of people fired because they're making room in the salary cap for his fat paycheck to come through. The appeal with Pat McAfee, I hope goes away quickly. I hope ESPN paid a lot of money for Pat McAfee, and then the internet and the world at large will move away from Pat like they do with every other flash in the pan thing, and then he'll be another fucking dude that people spend a lot of money on.
I think public sentiment on him has changed for the most part. And I have a complex relationship with this that most other people aren't going to. Okay. As a diehard West Virginia football fan.
Sure.
So Pat McAfee is one of our own.
Okay.
He's one of the most successful football players to ever come. And his millions of dollars that he gives to the football program are helping us hopefully be competitive in this era where you have to have money to compete. That said, man, it's getting hard to like him. It is getting hard to like him. I'm trying my best, but man, I like your money, Pat. If for some reason you're listening to the show, just keep giving that money to the football program.
Listen, if you are really about your business,
that money so you can give it to the football program.
Bro, if you are really about your business If you were really standing on business, you would keep giving to the West Virginia football program, despite how much maybe some people in West Virginia don't like you or are having a hard time continuing to like you.
Which, to be fair, he does.
And so, cool. Keep doing what you're doing. If you mean what you
Yeah, I
say,
feel like is he just is he lost in his own sauce at this point? Has he forgotten it and he's just surrounded by too many people that like it's the classic story of he just like believes too much of his own bullshit at this point.
I don't know. I mean, surrounded by the wrong people or something like that. I don't know because
Nobody in the sense that nobody told him no. Under no circumstances are we releasing an album, Pat. What the fuck is wrong with you? Somebody needed to tell him that.
You know, there are other people in the pop culture zeitgeist, whether they are, celebrities, elected officials, sports people, whatever, right? Whatever your claim to fame is. I think you reach a level of superstardom where you begin to remove a lot of the people who tell you no. I think those people are necessary, but I also think, to be fair to people in those positions, I think the idea from us people on the outside that say things like you need people around you to say no, I think to be fair to those people, it's unrealistic to really think that that's going to be a thing that happens.
True.
I think you get these people whose egos begin to run congruent with their level of success, right? And they start to believe that they are the reason why they are successful. Their decision making, their thought process is the reason why they are who they are. They are the reason why they got to the dance, right? And to a certain extent, that's not completely untrue. But at the very same time, it's kind of like you want to have people around to kind of check certain things that you're trying to do. Because otherwise, you just have ChatGPT. Like, that's essentially what these people end up being, right? ChatGPT will tell you that every idea that you pitch to it is awesome and will rationalize via large language models and millions and billions of hours of internet why it's great, even if it's a shitty ass idea. And that's essentially what you've got in your pocket now is a yes man. And I think that that's what these people surround themselves with. Nonsensical yes men who will okay everything as long as the money continues to clear.
Like John Laurinaitis, right?
Just like John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis to Vincent, right? And yeah, maybe it's possible.
What was before nonsensical? Glad handing.
Glad handing nonsensical.
Glad handling nonsensical. Yeah, there you go.
And listen, to that end, I say all that because my answer to your question of is he a product of glad handing nonsensical yes men, never telling him no? My answer to that is the answer that I will give to any person in this situation, which is no. It falls squarely on the person who is coming up with the ideas. I think it falls squarely on, because even if you don't have anybody to tell you, no, that's a bad idea, you're still the fucker that came up with the bad idea. Like, you're still the one who came up with the bad idea, right? And I think people in life will oftentimes have folks around them who may tell you that things are a bad idea. But oftentimes, it's left to a responsible adult to be responsible for themselves, to think things through, right? Before you go and enact something, think twice about it. That's what we're taught. That's what we're told, right? So if at the lowest on the totem pole, it is still our responsibility to self-govern. And we can't put that onus on someone else to govern our good or bad choices. Then just because you are big and you are powerful and you are rich and you're wealthy, you don't get to offboard that responsibility to someone else. And so, no, I think it's squarely on Pat McAfee's shoulders that he is making a dumbass decision to release an album that's probably going to be trash. You know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be garbage. And I think that's squarely on Pat McAfee's shoulders. And Pat McAfee should hold that L. And I hope it is the biggest L that anyone has ever seen. I hope it encompasses a galaxy of
It won't
just
be that
them.
large, but it's gonna like there's no chance it's not a gigantic L. Like he's going to be the laughing stock of everything tomorrow when this horrible ass album comes out.
I hope it is as bad as humanly possible. And
Did
listen,
you hear the song he released last year?
certainly not, dude. I ain't checking for
It's got to be worse than you can even imagine, to be honest.
Oh, well, that's even better. Like, what a world I live in, right? What a world I live in. And I didn't even hear it, and I know that it's already guaranteed to be dog shit. And that makes me happy. That warms my heart. So I hope that tomorrow's release is a colossal success in the failure category. And, and we hear about the internet just completely lambasting and roasting this man. And then I want to hear his attempt to make good of the criticism. And I want him to continue to, he's not going to wallow in anything bad because he's too big to fail. You don't pay
Correct.
somebody that kind of money, right? For him
Correct.
to fail.
Without major scandal, he is too big to fail.
He's too big to fail. And it's a sad day. I hope that he's done with WWE. I hope that what's happening with
Maybe
him currently is what the speculation was when the WrestleMania stuff first happened, right? That Pat was using WWE to springboard more things that he was going to do. And now that he's got what he wanted, he's gone. At first that pissed me off. But now I'm hoping against hope that that's the truth. That he is gone from WWE and that the only time I have to hear Pat McAfee is in clips of old things when I forgot that he was there. I went back and watched the Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight Pitch Black match, the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, because I'd forgotten what Bray's final match was.
Yeah, that was it.
And that was it. And so I went back to go watch that match. And when I was watching that match, I heard Pat. I forgot he was around, you know what I'm saying, and commentating during that match. And I thought to myself, then, I hope this is the only time I hear Pat McAfee.
We were still on the jet ski, barreling toward the ramp that jumped over the shark.
Yep, we were headlong into it, and none of us knew what was
still a hell of a jet ski ride at that point.
Oh yeah. Listen, he seemed like a natural fit for commentary. He seemed like somebody who was really a big fan of the product. I thought he added something. And there were people who did not like Pat on commentary.
He did at that time. He did. I think that was undeniable. And I will still say that his inclusion in the WrestleMania thing was a big mistake. His performance in the midst of the horrible mistake, I will still defend as good. Doesn't mean it should have happened.
Wait,
that it was good. I think he did well in the situation he was placed in.
Okay.
I think it was a horrible, horrible decision. But if you're going out there and asking someone to do what they asked him to do, I think he did a good job at what he was asked to do. It was just the wrong call to ask him to do that.
Okay. So
he executed the wrong play at a very high level.
I hear what you're saying. So for me, in analyzing this, there's two schools of thought, right? And you have to assume one of the two. You can't assume both. One, you have to either assume that Pat McAfee was an unwilling participant in this, that he, like the wrestlers, were told what the story was going to be, and Pat, having to run the play, ran the play to the best of his ability. That's one school of thought.
That's what I believe.
The other school of thought is that Pat McAfee was part of the play calling. He was part of the play calling. He knew what the plays were going to be. Pat wanted in on this just as much as whoever put this in motion wanted this in on the whole thing. And that him running the play well was expected because you're a performer. The expectation is that you run the play the way you're supposed to run it, right? If the problem is the play calling, then you are part of the problem. This was all done to Pat McAfee's benefit.
I don't think he would. I think it did benefit him, but I think because there is a misalignment, which is not the exact word I want to use, but
sure,
the there's a conflict of interest in managements and agents at the high level of TKO, and they thought this was a good idea. And it was a horrible fucking idea.
I mean, there's only one party that benefited from this.
I don't think anyone benefited from it, to be honest.
Bullshit. Pat McAfee got a fat ass payday from doing that.
Okay, well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the only thing that he had.
And in turn, his agent, who I believe influenced this.
Right. Agreed. Right. Agreed. Right. So, and that's the only thing that they had hinging on it. Right. Of course, somebody could say that, oh, well, Cody got a payday and so did Randy. They did, but they have more hinging on this in paychecks. You know what I'm saying? And where they took the biggest hit was not in their pay because they got paid regardless. Where they took a hit was the fact that they were part and parcel to the shitty ass storyline that had the potential to be something great on the biggest stage. Right. They are the people who, in my opinion, had to run the play. And you know what I'm saying? And they didn't have any say in how this story went down because it seemed to have been strings that were pulled above their head, right? And if this came from Pat McAfee's management, you mean to tell me that Pat doesn't have any control over his manager? Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. These celebrities are the ones who are in control of their careers, not their management. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like their managers, their agents and stuff like that. The celebrity is the person in control, and the agent or the management makes that shit happen. So if his manager or his agent were in on these meetings with WWE, right? You got to think Pat knew what the play was and had some sort of creative control over his involvement. He could say, "No, I don't want to do this."
Yeah, he could. I mean, yeah, I mean, his agent is the CEO and the chairman of TKO. So, like, that is, yeah. Could he have said no? Obviously, yeah. But I think, like, that's where you delude yourself into he's probably thinking, like, yeah, I can come in and make this great. Was that correct line of thinking? No. But on a human level, I don't fault him for that.
Right. But I will say this, however. I fault him because I know Cody didn't have that type of representation in this situation. I know Randy didn't either. And so the only person talent-wise in that whole angle who had to say was Pat.
Yeah, he could have evacuated the towers, but he didn't.
He didn't. But then here's the thing.
He thought he could save it.
Your agent has dual roles, right? Two different responsibilities. Those two things don't overlap.
Conflict of interest
is what happened. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
But that conflict of interest does not then mean that the two roles overlap in a way that violates what the agent, celebrity, or agent and talent relationship is. It doesn't override that. Just because your agent is also the CEO of TKO?
Yeah.
Just because your agent is the CEO of another company doesn't mean that the agent now runs the relationship. The talent always runs the relationship with the agent.
Supposedly not, but I actually don't know if I agree in this case.
I will say that if
it's someone that's like this big of an agent, like this may be like where the agent is bigger and more powerful than the talent. Should it work this way? No, but I feel like this is almost where it's like, I'm signing the check. I'm getting you this badass payday. Shut up and do what I say. Could he have said no? Sure.
Honestly, Skeeter, if that is the case, and the agent has that much power, I don't then believe credibly that a talent would have the ability to say no. You can't
that's what I'm saying. I don't think I think we'll never know. And this is all just conjecture.
Sure,
but I feel like this was a shitty idea from TKO to try to get some mainstream publicity where they didn't need it. And I will maintain that stance until I credibly hear otherwise from folks involved.
I think there are so many situations where big fat paychecks are made off of guaranteed slam dunks, right? I think about movies, for instance, right? There was a period of time when if you were in a Marvel product, you were gonna be big. It was gonna make money. This movie was gonna hit, right? Now Marvel's on the rebound right now. They're trying to rebuild
and then
things.
they did Ant-Man.
But
And then they did Ant-Man.
the Ant-Man was a success. When that movie came out, that movie was a success. Whether you liked it or not is different. But at the time period, right, in that era of Marvel, when the first Ant-Man movie came out, the movie was a hit. Because at that time, Marvel wasn't missing. They were like Carmelo, like Mello don't miss, right? If you were to tell me that you were talent who was being handled by an agent, and that agent could get you a role in a Marvel movie, and that agent was just like, this is going to be a slam dunk. You're doing this movie. Get the fuck out of here. I got a fucking bridge to sell you. I got a bridge to sell you if you think that was the case, right?
But I do think that is kind of like this situation because he had just hired Ari Emanuel to be his agent with the goal of this guy's going to get me all these roles in Hollywood and stuff. And then probably the first thing he says is, hey, Pat, you know what would help? That other company I run that you work for, let's put you in a big WrestleMania storyline. And that'll skyrocket you to the top and everyone will be talking about you.
And I think
it was
Pat
a horrible
was like,
idea
let's do
that
it.
ruined. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. I don't think he was in a situation where if he said, nah, I don't think that's the right play, that Ari would have been like, nah, you're doing that shit. Because I don't think Pat McAfee is that big of a name in WWE. And that was my whole thing, right? Is that like, sure, this is at WrestleMania, but still, the majority of people viewing WrestleMania are not your crossover viewers.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? And so what would be the point of doing this to the extent that it gets your name over on ESPN more because outlets that only show up for big PLEs will be talking about WrestleMania, right? Okay, you could have got that press.
Yeah, that was the horrible thought process.
Right,
I think.
but you could have got that press doing a bunch of other shit. You could have got that press doing other shit.
Agreed. Yeah, it was a horrible idea.
Right. So I'm glad you agree because I think this is where I land this plane.
Good idea.
This is where I tried to land this plane, right?
With or without Haku.
With or without Haku, right? Because you could have got this press somewhere else. So because of that, what is the selling point that would make me think that Ari Emanuel would be like, you're absolutely doing this, no questions. The draw isn't there. The payout isn't there. Besides the check.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters.
You know what I'm saying?
Really,
like,
whether I think, the
payout isn't
backfired.
there.
It was a huge fuck up.
Sure it is. It sure is. And the only thing that
for WrestleMania and for public
absolutely
sentiment of Pat, I believe. So,
well, and listen, I think that public sentiment of Pat, because it's like one thing can't be true without the other. If there isn't a big payout to come from putting Pat in that position at WrestleMania because there's not really that crossover appeal from the wrestling audience to these other things, right? Then I don't think the fallout from his poor performance and his poor angle at WrestleMania is somehow hurting him in other avenues. I think Pat McAfee is hurting in other avenues because...
Yeah, no. I think this was like his downfall in wrestling, for sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Right? But I think this is all Pat. I think this is Pat saying, sure, yeah, let's do it. And just doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, this shit sucked. This shit was trash. And I think Pat is probably so freaking high off of weed and himself, right? That he believed that this shit was the play. This shit was the play. And I think that Pat has an agent who is the CEO of TKO, right? Who overrides anything that Cody would want to do, anything that Randy would want to do, any objection that Triple H would have. And then you move forward with a shitty ass storyline that doesn't benefit anybody that's on the product that the shitty ass storyline is putting forward, besides the one person who has the ability to object and the one person who's going to get a paycheck and don't actually go here. And that's Pat McAfee. And so I put the blame squarely in Pat McAfee's court. He had every ability to navigate and to move in a way that all other parties did not. And he benefited off of it, and now he's going to put a shitty-ass album out tomorrow that I hope everybody shits on. So, no, fuck Pat McAfee. Keep paying the West Virginia football program because my co-host is from there. I care about my co-host, and therefore I care about the things that he cares about. But fuck Pat McAfee, and I hope that album fucking flops. Anyway,
Tune in next week where we review the album and
listen,
talk about how it has been received.
I will not review the album, but if there is enough people to reach out on Instagram or the socials that are like, we want you to review that album, I will create a Patreon tonight. I will create a Patreon tonight, and I will put a $5 tier up. And if you donate to the $5 tier on Patreon, we will review this shitty ass album.
We could have a listening party at midnight. We could go live.
The Patreon won't be up by then, and there won't be somebody paying yet. But if we get it up by next week, if people reach out and they're like, "Hey, we want you to do it," if you want to just throw hate our way and just make us suffer through it because you just don't like us, right? And you're like, "Dude, I will pay a Patreon tier just to get you fuckheads to listen to something you don't want to listen to," right? Okay, put it in the comments. Send an email, reach out to Skeeter on the Instagram, and let us know that you just want us to do this. And then I will set it up over the weekend. I will send it to Skeeter, the link to send out the Patreon. And if you subscribe to the freaking $5 Patreon tier, I will not only make sure that we put some special content on there for you to make it value added, but we will also review Pat McAfee's shitty ass album. I will do that for you.
I wonder if it's out.
Wait, if it's out already?
Well, I wonder if he's going on like international time. So do like the good people in Australia already have access?
Do they already have access?
Well, let me activate my NordVPN and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens to your feed. I don't think anything happened
because I move
on. Let's see. Okay, we got Randy over here talk about Tatum Paxley. Yeah, let's move on to Raw. We covered everything.
Yeah, that was everything on SmackDown, I believe.
Okay, so first let's start with the big thing on SmackDown, and then we'll walk back through the card. So I was going to start with the solo stuff, but I was more excited by Braun Breaker and Oba Femi coming face to face. This was, listen, I think we are inching closer and closer to Braun Breaker not giving a single damn about the goings on of the Vision. He is becoming increasingly obsessed with whether or not people believe that Oba Femi is the future of this business. And now we get this face-to-face between the two of them in the ring where Oba comes down and Oba looks like he gives 0 Fs about whether or not we go to blows now or later. And Braun, I feel like there is probably a legitimate psychotic edge to this man that he just does not tap into because he doesn't want to. And so when he gets on screen, he can very easily emote this like psychotic edge about him in the most believable way possible because I feel like it's right under the surface. Like the way he was smiling, I'm looking at this still that I've got on the screen right now of Braun Breaker and Oba Femi standing face to face, and you see Oba's back, right? This is on WWE.com for Raw. And the look on Braun Breaker's face, I mean, dude, he looks so crazy in the face. He looks so crazy in the face. Even with this little smile, it's just like he looks so psycho. Like, I'm not even going to say that because I don't want to disparage the man. He ain't never done nothing. But, like, I don't want to even put that in his orbit. But the dude looks freaking psycho. And I love this. I love this. This is such a different feel from Oba versus Brock. Because, you know, listen, as much as I feel like Brock is a legitimate badass, and Brock doesn't have to necessarily sell that he's a legitimate badass, there's something so believable about Braun Breaker that, you know, just putting him in this picture. If Braun were to have ever challenged Brock, I feel like that would have so much badass energy emanating off of it that it would be hard to stand in the same room with. Like, it's just emanating out of their pores. But your thoughts on this interaction and the fact that Austin Theory is wrestling Tozawa and Logan Paul and Maxine are standing ringside, and how deflated do the Vision feel right now?
Well, I'll say obviously the Vision is not at the heights it was because it is completely different than its initial conception, makeup, and the aim of it.
Yeah,
That said, I love what Maxine and Austin Theory are doing.
I agree.
I think Maxine is doing an incredible job. Like, she has just flipped the switch and dove into this evil side, and I think she's been awesome, especially like after the match, like offering the chair to Theory and being like, "Yeah, go beat his ass with the chair." I think she has been absolutely despicable in the best way in this role, and that is one thing that's good. I think Logan's done good work
I agree.
moving into a supporting role where he can't get physical, and I think his stuff has been good, especially the backstage stuff where they leave and then like Braun's still standing there, just
Yeah,
being like you said, this unhinged psychopath. But getting to Braun and Oba, I mean, it's incredible. It's exactly what we want. It's the showdown that people have fantasy booked ever since they both arrived on the scene, and I think it's going to be awesome. I really do. And the way they're playing this, and they're using what some people would say is like the real life angle of like Braun feeling like he has been overlooked and cast aside while people harp all this praise on Oba, and Oba's the future and all this, and Braun can be like, "Oh, really? Is that what you think?" Because I feel like I'm the future. And a little bit, not too long ago, I was that guy. And what happened to me? And I think that's just been so great, and especially his interplay with Paul has just been absolutely 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
This whole time, and I can't wait to see where they go with this and when and where they book this match, because it is going to be a heavyweight clash of all clashes.
I agree. I mean, I can't imagine that you get this match on a Saturday night's main event, or
What about a Sunday night's main event?
maybe because it's Sunday. It's possible that
That's where I was going to posit it's going to happen.
you
Is it Sunday night main event?
I guess if it's not a one and done, that's fine. If it's not a one and done, I think that's fine. If it is a one and done, I
feel like it's going to headline Sunday night's main event.
Well, then that means Braun Breaker's going to lose. He's going to lose. If it's a one and done, he's going to lose.
Doesn't have to have a finish.
It does.
Oh yeah, if it's one and done. I don't think Oba is taking any sort of clean loss or anything like that, for sure. But we'll see. I mean, Oba has taken a loss to Brock, and it certainly didn't stop the momentum. Again, it's one of these things like, yeah, you don't want to stall the momentum, but you also don't want to have a character that can never lose.
Right. This is true. I agree.
But yeah, we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. And there are always ways that WWE can figure to get out of situations where no one can afford to lose. We've done it before. And yeah, I still think it's going to be at Sunday night's main event, because I don't think they're going to wait another month until Money in the Bank. Do you?
No, I mean, it depends. Oba has not said a single word about this yet. They've interacted, but he hasn't cut a promo on this yet.
Yeah, but Monday, I feel like, was a pretty big signal for him to come out and confront Braun.
I agree.
So he clearly has Oba's attention.
He does. I think Oba is just very good on the microphone, and you got to give this dude more than one opportunity to talk. And I think you get that opportunity maybe this Monday, right? But Sunday night's main event is what, next weekend?
No, it's not until September 6th.
Oh, well, you got some time then. Well,
yeah.
No, but September 6th. I mean, we're almost in September.
It's like August 13th. It is August 13th.
Okay, so we got what? 2 weeks?
3, right?
I'm trying to pull my calendar up now, and I'm not. Since my calendar doesn't work. correctly because I
It's
had to
3.
restart everything.
It's
So it's
3 weeks from this Sunday
okay. So
in
we got time.
WWE speak.
So
Yeah.
we got time. We got
This
time for
Sunday will
Oba.
be the 16th, then the 23rd, then the 30th, then the 6th.
Okay. So yeah, we got time. We
There
got
are
time.
there are 3 Raws between now and Sunday night's main event.
Well, I agree. Then they certainly are not putting this off until Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
That's
beginning of
crazy.
October.
That's crazy talk.
8. Yeah, your options are 3 weeks or 8 weeks, essentially.
Yeah, no, that's crazy talk. So yeah, no, we're good. We're almost certainly going to get that at Sunday night's main event, and they've got time to let Oba get his shit in, and have some really good back and forth dialogue because Braun Breaker is no slouch on the microphone either. He was always pretty good, and he's improved significantly, and so he's a natural. So yeah, no, that changes a lot.
Yeah.
So Liv escapes being attacked by Becky Lynch and Stephanie Vaquer.
Well, and I want to hit on what Paul said to Braun, which was Braun confronted Paul again. And he said, "Do you think Obafemi's the future?" And Paul said, "I respect Obafemi, and I will respect him until you do something to make me not respect him."
Right.
Which sets Braun Breaker off, kind of gets Braun off Paul's back. But Paul gave us a look afterwards where he's like, whew,
Right.
I've got out of that situation.
Right.
Which we'll see if we go anywhere. Maybe that was just a momentary thing, but I like that from Paul, where he gave that little look where he was like, whew, glad that worked.
He also stated that, because he didn't answer the question directly, right?
Yeah.
And he also stated that, I think that you are questioning whether Obafemi is the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect him, and I will continue to respect him until you give me a reason to not respect him.
Mm-hmm.
And Braun was like, okay. And then he said something. He said, "You sound like no. That was when he asked that to Byron.
Yeah.
And he was like, you sound like Paul." But
yeah,
I like that too, because it shows that Paul recognizes how unhinged and dangerous Braun Breaker is, and
the way he is treating Braun is giving Braun a little bit of that edge back. That he is just this unhinged dude that we are worried what he can do if we point this gun the wrong way and it gets pointed at us. We are in for some trouble.
Yeah. You're trying to handle him with kid gloves because you don't want this dude to go off.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I like that too. And it just leans into this psychopathy. You know what I'm saying? That is boiling underneath the surface of Braun Breaker, because I'm still looking at this picture. And this dude looks unhinged in the most calm, smiling way possible, like he could literally rip your head off. So Liv Morgan escapes being attacked by Becky Lynch and Stephanie Vaquer, but then Stephanie Vaquer and Becky Lynch are also like I will fuck you up myself.
Yeah.
and listen, this is probably the best way to do this. You know what I mean? Is the best way to do this to allow Stephanie to come back into the main event scene and immediately not simply challenge for the title again, but also put her at odds with arguably the best talker that the women's division has, in Becky Lynch. And Liv Morgan is no slouch over there either. So between the two of them, they can carry a lot of the load for the talking and the promo. And Stephanie's English is getting better and better. Mm-hmm. So she'll be able to contribute more to that as well. But getting the three of them in the ring together is going to be the pièce de résistance. And we haven't seen Stephanie in the ring for quite a while. So, there's some people who I'm talking about Stephanie Johnson here, who don't like Liv Morgan. I like Liv.
Sarah.
Sarah. Oh, sorry, Sarah.
You're stuck on Stephanie Vaquer.
I am. Sarah Johnson. I like Liv.
Oh, I love me some Liv.
I genuinely like Liv. I think she is. Some people may think Sarah Johnson that her character is bland and that it's just kind of like, oh, I'm just a girl, but there's nuance to that. There's nuance to that because Liv is in my opinion, the Liv Morgan character and her character arc is one that has been very well documented and viewed by all of us as it's happened. And so she is transcended into that space where she doesn't have to play a character. The same way Becky Lynch doesn't have to play a character. You know what I'm saying? They can play themselves and have versions of themselves now instead of having to simply be a caricature of a person. And yeah, Liv can just be Liv and it works. And I say this with endearment in mind, and I always have about Liv. Who would have thought that when the Riot Squad was a thing,
Yeah.
you know, that not only would Liv be the one remaining person that's still here, but that she would also be the megastar that she is, right? I remember seeing her back in the day and thinking, I like Liv second best in this group. And part of that was because they positioned Ruby Riot as the focal point. But Ruby Riot was interesting too, right? But to me, Liv always kind of grabbed attention. And you want that. You want your stable to have people who grab attention in very different, perspectives. I think their weak point was Sarah Logan. But Liv was always strong, in my opinion, and Ruby was strong. I think that trio was doomed to fail because I just don't think that WWE thought as highly of Ruby Riot as some of us did. But, Liv was the one who stuck around. And then, Sarah Logan came back and she was barefoot with the War Raiders. And, that came and went. And the War Raiders are back and she's
I
not.
don't remember her wearing shoes.
That's what I'm saying. She was barefoot.
No, I know. That's what I mean. But I know she was at one point. She wore shoes in the Riot Squad?
Yeah. She had her because she was more of like a woods woman type character. I'll never forget that promo.
You're right. I'm looking at her here with boots. I thought she was shoeless the entire time.
No. Only when she was like Viking mother witch lady did she not have shoes on.
Valhalla.
But I remember, I'll never forget that promo. It was like early in the Riot Squad.
I didn't think she even owned boots.
Where they were all given like an opportunity to kind of talk.
Is this the Game Meat promo?
Yes, Lord.
Game Meat.
You ever had Game Meat?
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
It's like, what the fuck is? What are we?
I don't want anyone to ever talk about Suffer and Succotash when Game Meat exists.
Oh no, Suffer and Succotash is right there. Suffer and Succotash, son.
No, that's a tier above Game Meat.
I don't know. And here's the reason why I say I don't know. Not because I think Suffer and Succotash is a worse line than Game Meat. It's because of contextually how it applies to the character, right? So Sarah Logan's character was this woods woman, right? Living off the land kind of person, right? Terrible, shitty line. I think objectively the line was worse, though it was in line with the shitty character she was playing. It was a shit character, and a shit character had a shittier line. Fair. Roman is supposed to be the cool dude. He's supposed to be the badass member of the Shield, right? He's supposed to be the big dog. And he's like, you're full of blibber, suffer, succotash, son.
You're a sniveling little suck-up sellout full of suffer and succotash, son.
Dude, contextually speaking, the cool dude said that stupid-ass shit. I think objectively, the Game Meat line is worse.
I feel like John Cena said cornier shit than that.
And listen, and the context matters. The context always matters. The context changes that line from being the second worst shitty line to being the first because of who it was delivered by and the context of which it was delivered. If Roman was a parody on a Looney Tunes character, that would have still been a shitty line, but it would have fit the character. That did not fit that character at all. That was a crazy line for him to say. Ridiculous. Oh boy. And on top, you remember they made the dude wear blue contacts?
The blue contacts were wild.
Boy,
Those were wild.
Boy, they were trying to sell him as something like, oh boy, he's a handsome dude. Put them blue contacts and let's make him a heartthrob too.
Like didn't need that though.
No, he didn't. He didn't need it.
Like that's a good looking dude. Like look at him now. Like good looking dude.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, absolutely. They just tried to market him.
I don't know about the blue contacts. That was a wild one.
They tried to market that guy as everything they could possibly market him as. And the best thing that could have happened was him having more input on his own character. You know what I'm saying? It's like the second you moved away from all the shit you tried to make him into was, when he.
You'll never see it coming.
Nope.
That was like, again, I know I sort of half tongue in cheek, half not always bring up like sometimes Vince would just late stage Vince would just have it again. He said, "You know what? This shit's so good. I'm gonna subtitle the event. You'll never see it coming, and they still won't see it coming. SummerSlam 2020. You'll never see it coming. Ain't nobody said, yeah, Roman's gonna come back as a heel in the main event and then kick off the greatest storyline in wrestling possibly."
Well, listen, if you believe Paul Heyman, which I do in this situation, that was not a Vince idea. And so, yeah, I mean, not that you'll never see it coming. That was absolutely a Vince idea.
Oh, but yeah.
The tribal chief was not a Vince idea.
Oh, yeah. No.
And so do I think that Vince and that you'll never see it coming was applied to Roman? No, I think that was all a Vince thing. Because I don't think Vince, I think if we could get into the head of Vince, I think he probably heard that. He's probably like, this is stupid. This is stupid.
I think so, because he went with it.
I think he went with it because what else can you do? We tried everything else. Like, we tried everything else. I think they probably were like, sure, let's go with it. Let's try it. Because we tried everything else. Why not try it?
They were just trying shit.
They were just trying shit. And listen, that was great. That was great. It's a sad thing that Drew was in the midst of that trying shit.
Yeah, that.
You know what I mean?
Well, just that his real first run as the big babyface conquering hero was done in front of screens. That did suck. That was like the only. I mean, there are other negatives, but it would just in the WWE scope of things, like that's the biggest negative from the Thunderdome era.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked Retribution. I won't even lie. Retribution was.
Who is Retribution again?
That was Mustafa Ali leading the stable of T-Bar, Slapjack.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was kidding.
What was Mace's name?
I don't know, but what was Michin's name?
I don't know. I'll look him up.
And I was halfway joking about who is Retribution, but I say that because Retribution was trash, and it had such a good setup because that was the whole hacker silhouette setup, right?
Yeah.
It had a good setup. You're always going to get me with the dude in the chair.
Mace's name was just Mace.
Yeah.
T-Bar, Mace, Slapjack. Michin's name was Reckoning.
Slapjack. The fuck is that?
It's like it's a club, right?
You chose that, brother? You chose Slapjack? Holy shit. Listen, certain words are always going to tee off as stupid when you say them out loud.
Yeah, I mean, Slapjack is.
You know what I'm saying? Like anytime you say Slapjack, I'm never going to envision Slapjack in a championship match. Like, you have pigeonholed yourself into obscurity.
You didn't have to. So good news. Great news. You did not have to.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so I'm going to say this. Every week, I become more and more of a genuine fan of Sol Ruka. I
did not think that was the statement that was going to. I didn't think where you started is where you're going to end.
Where do you think I was going to go?
Well, what we'll talk about next. What I'll talk about next, I guess.
Okay. Okay.
I become more of a fan of.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, every week I become more and more a fan of Sol Ruka. I think that the promo that she cut backstage after their match, when Io, who did Io and Sol run into backstage? Was it Lyra?
Who I was going to apply that statement to.
Okay.
Because every week we see more of this. I think Lyra is killing it with this gimmick.
Agreed.
I love it every time.
I agree.
But yeah, that dovetails nicely into that.
I
But
agree.
yeah, I'd love that interaction from all of them.
Yeah, I think that Sol Ruka is becoming more comfortable. And I think when she becomes more comfortable, not just in the ring, but like in front of cameras, promo backstage and stuff like that, she is revealing that she has really natural timing when it comes to how she interacts with others in a promo segment, and her on-camera appearance feels very natural. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels very
Yeah.
natural and authentic. And I like that. If there's one thing I can say that NXT and their long gestation periods for superstars seems to be doing, at least relatively consistent, is these people coming up to the main roster and they've got so many things polished. You know what I mean? When they hit the main roster. And I like it. I wish it didn't take so long because I feel like for some people, like the other day, I just realized that Tony D'Angelo has a huge beard now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Huge
His
beard
look
now.
is way different from his first look.
But how long has this dude been in NXT? Like 10 years?
Long
Feels like a
fucking
fucking
time.
decade.
Like he was kicking off like the NXT 2.0 era.
It seems like he's been up there for such a long time, right?
So I'd say at least like 7 years now,
At
right?
least.
I feel like
And it's just like when he finally makes it to the main roster, if
maybe
he
not
ever
that.
does,
Maybe because 2.0. I'd say 5 years. I'd say 5 years.
and he was there, was he there before 2.0 branding?
I think so.
I think he was.
Well, I don't know. No, I bet he's been there 5 years. I can look it up.
That's a long time to be in developmental. I mean, we've seen plenty of talent come and go.
We're coming up on 5 years.
Okay.
NXT debut in October 2021.
Look, we've seen plenty of talent. I'm about to lower my chair so I don't want to look dumb falling down. Oh, or is that as low as my chair goes? I think so. Damn, that's crazy. I feel like as long as he has been in NXT, does he ever get to the main roster? I mean, like
I think we'll give him a shot. We'll see.
His gimmick is so specific, and unless you implement the D'Angelo family thing into the mix, and it runs so
it just has like so many. It's so different than what it was now that like what gimmick does he even bring up? Because now it relies on like the 5 years of history for it to make any sense.
Right. It's like unless you bring up that lineage along with it, which I don't know how you do, right?
You don't. Can't.
What role does he play outside of maybe having the most well-refined character to ever come up from NXT? Like, I could see a world where you bring him up into something completely new and you just bank off the fact that his character is so well-defined. You know what I mean? That you can put him in a situation, he just knows that character in and out. But that long gestation period, he is an example of, in my opinion, where it's like, dude, you've got some people who are spending the best years of their career in NXT. You know what I mean? And
he's 30. He's only 31.
I'm not saying the best that he doesn't have years in front of him. But what I am saying is you can stave off injury, but so long. It's like every great superstar who has great careers has spent time away from the product due to injury. It is the nature of the business, right? And the you will find a much shorter list of people who have avoided injury that took them time away from the business than you have people who have experienced that. And it's just like you have people who spend such a significant time in NXT that like either they never make it to the main roster, or when they do make it to the main roster, I mean, you got them for a little bit and then they're out with injury. And it may not even just be NXT, right? Look at Jordan Grace. Where is she? Out with injury, right?
No,
she's
not injured.
Where's she at?
They just aren't using her.
Oh, I heard she was injured, but maybe she's
Well,
not.
I think that was a while ago. Yeah, is she? I thought they just weren't using her.
Maybe not. Maybe they just don't have any plans for her, and so we just haven't seen her at all. But we've seen other people who have less interest around them than her, and they were just putting them like, why is she not in the Women's United States Championship picture? They ain't even got enough people to circulate in that freaking space right now. So you tell me she's not injured and they're just not using her in a scene that could absolutely use her on a secondary title? Maybe they're not.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Well, shit, WWE. What what the hell, man? Like, talk about wasting talent. Talk about wasting talent. I would not be surprised if at the end of her contract with WWE, she wants out. Like,
The way things are going right now, yeah, sure.
do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy to me that you got her under contract and you just don't use her. That's bananas.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people like Jordan Grace are really feeling the effects of both shows shortening. SmackDown going back to 2 hours, and Raw has been that way really since they debuted on Netflix, but never touching close to 3 hours. And for my money, that's not a bad thing, but there is less time to go around.
Well, true.
And I'm not defending using or not using Jordan Grace. I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she just is unused.
She's signed to SmackDown, right?
Yes.
So I'm just looking back over SmackDown, and I'm just looking at what was on the show. Let me zoom this out because I'm not seeing the side frame here to see everybody that was on the show, all the segments and whatnot. Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, maybe they just don't have anything for her right now. But, I'll bring this back to the conversation we were having earlier about Tatum Paxley, Blake Monroe, right? In that, where are they? I mean, Tatum Paxley has debuted on the show, right? And she is in a pretty prominent position under the wing of Charlotte and Alexa. But you have Blake Monroe, who was on the show before SummerSlam, and we haven't seen or heard from her since, right? Along with the person she was feuding with, which was Julia.
Yeah.
And it's like, then you have Jordan Grace, who apparently she's cleared, and they're just not using her. And it just, I don't know. It to me, it begs the question of, and listen, I'm sparking a conversation for the people who want to argue this online, not Skeeter and I. But does WWE still operate in the practice of trying to secure and poach talent so that other companies don't use them?
I think those two definitely were exactly that.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's
I think Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe were exactly that.
Yeah. I mean,
I want it for Blake Monroe than I do with Jordan Grace.
Say that one more time.
I said I have more hope for Blake Monroe to find her footing and do something than Jordan Grace.
I reluctantly agree. And it's a shame because I think Jordan Grace has all of the tools to be a contributor to somebody's show. I genuinely think she's got the tools to be a contributing member of somebody's show. And the fact that she is just kind of sitting at home and not being utilized.
Hey, I think she may get to come and eat catering. I don't think she's sitting at home.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. If it were left up to me to either be traveling with the company, going around from town to town, city to city, and not being put on SmackDown or Raw or Main Event. But
I think she has been on Main Event, though.
Has she?
I believe so. Let me check our good friend Cage Match.
Yeah.
They'll show us. But no, I get what you're saying. And yeah, it does feel like kind of a miss there. But, oh yeah. Well, I guess that's 2 months ago now.
Yeah, June 15th.
June 12th is what I have.
On Main Event.
Yeah.
You're not even using her, dude. I've had to catch up on more freaking AAA. You know what I'm saying? I've had to catch up on AAA further back than the last time she wrestled. I don't know. You would think that coming up on an event like Money in the Bank, that this would be a great opportunity to put new up and coming talent or less utilized talent into the spotlight. It's more and more looking like you're going to look at a Money in the Bank and you're going to see a whole crop of familiar faces. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to see a whole crop of familiar faces, and you're not going to have any people that are positioned to be made into stars, whether they win the Money in the Bank ladder match or not. And it makes no sense to me why you're not using someone like Jordan Grace. And let's see, her recent status and lack of creative plans in WWE, you just don't have plans for her. It's just sad. It's just sad. I was so excited when she was coming to the WWE, and you get here and you don't even use her. I don't know. It's ridiculous. And then, of course, we started the top of the show with Solo losing to Jay. Now, Solo has been hella entertaining.
Oh, Solo has been, ever since I clued everyone in that he was the most underrated wrestler in the world.
There you go, Hogan. Let him know.
Check the tapes. You can go back. That was one of my ending thoughts.
Let him know, Hollywood Skeeter. Tell him.
I said that. I said that.
When you saw this guy in developmental, you knew.
Yeah. Don't check the tapes on the other stuff I said about Enzo's return and things like this.
Nah,
but this
check
one,
that too.
You can be, but yeah, Solo, awesome. When Jay gave him the warning shot and they cut to Solo and he was ducking down and he turned around and goes, "Everyone back there okay?
Anybody get shot?"
Yeah. Like, that's just, you can tell, like, I don't know how, it's probably only because they are family that those guys don't break with him.
Sure, they probably knows this.
Imagine what they were like growing up. If this is Solo, like, it's awesome. I'm sure it's, on a side note, I'm sure it's awesome for these guys to be like, they've always been working with Roman, but now they're working with their brother like this too, and that's got to be great. And I think, look, again, we've talked a lot about the collective internet today, but they are very sure that this is just, we're killing Solo's push and we're just making him another Jacob Fatu in the bloodline. They're absolutely not. Why would they do that? They just had this guy open and close their flagship show. I think we're going to get to next week and something's going to be about to happen with the bloodline. And LA Knight's going to come in and save him. Like, I feel like that is so paint by numbers and wrestling 101 that I don't know why people are not seeing that's what's going to happen here. Like, we just did this whole thing with LA Knight and Solo, and they finally hugged, and now he's going to save him.
Yeah.
Because this is not Solo going back willingly. This was Solo standing up to the bloodline. Right. The whole thing LA Knight was worried that he wasn't going to do in the first place. Like,
for sure.
But yeah, I think I think the bloodline needed to get a win back. Like, the collective of Jay, Jimmy, and Jacob, like, they just got beat in that 6-man at SummerSlam. They need to show that they can still beat someone in the bloodline way with all the shenanigans. I think we'll see what happens on Monday. But I do not see a world where we have a second reluctant bloodline member in Solo. I don't think they're going that way with this, especially with all the work they've been doing making Solo a babyface.
Yeah, I agree. I tell you what I think. I think this could be a very interesting setup for reclaiming Jacob, right? That
possible.
Solo has to reluctantly come back to the bloodline. Do I think that he is going to take the same arc that Jacob is? No. I think he's going to probably be much more defiant, far less willing to fall in line. And I think that you're going to get some really interesting interactions between Jacob and Solo, with LA Knight on the outside trying to pull Solo, and by proxy, Jacob, back to either out of the bloodline for Solo and back to their senses with Jacob, right? But I'm going to tell you this. So I started up at the top of the episode with something that I wanted to kind of discuss, but it wasn't involving anyone that we were currently talking about. And I said that when I got to it, I would discuss it, right? So now I'm going to discuss it briefly. So I feel like at the end of the day, you were correct, Skeeter, in that the right call for SummerSlam, if Roman and Seth were doing their last little dance, was for Roman to win that match. I agree with you. I think that the premise for what it was that I wanted to see still should happen. I still think we should see the fall of Roman Reigns. I still think that is the most intriguing story to tell from this entire bloodline saga. Right? We showed the rise of Roman, and we should see the fall of Roman. I feel like clearing the hurdle of Seth should be the last great victory of Roman Reigns. That's not to say that Roman doesn't win anything else, obviously. But what I'm saying is Roman needed to clear that off of his bucket list, right? He needed to clear that off his bucket list because that was the one thing that he was incapable of doing. And he's done it. There are people online who say that this is Bloodline 3.0 and that we are falling back into similar routines. And I get the criticism. Do I fully agree with it? No. Do I fully disagree with it? No. But I don't think it's a rehashing and a retelling of the same story, right? I think the players are very different. The angles that certain players who have been here before are very different. But I also feel like Roman is really in a prime position to tell a very different story. I think Jacob challenging him early on for the head of the table, right, was very indicative of what a future could look like. I think Roman, we could tell a story where Roman is not making the right calls. He's not running the right plays, right? That's a term that has been utilized over and over and over again, right? Run the play, run the play. The tribal chiefs called the play. You're supposed to run the play. I'm here to run the play, right? What if Roman versus LA Knight ends with LA Knight beating Roman Reigns for the championship? Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you maybe keep the title on LA Knight. Maybe at some point it comes back to Roman, particularly if you want the title in the midst of Roman versus Oba, right? But for a short time, LA Knight is the world heavyweight champion. He beats Roman. He beats Roman because Roman's not calling the right plays anymore. He's telling the bloodline to do what they didn't do before that kept the championship around his waist, right? Maybe Roman's downfall is that he's trying to be something that he's not. He tells the bloodline, nobody touch LA Knight. That's the play, right? The play that would have kept the title around his waist before was the bloodline putting hands on LA Knight. In not doing so, LA Knight is able to consolidate power with a union between Solo Sikoa with Royce Keys, who's currently out injured, but he's going to come back, right? And I think that they're ultimately going to turn Jacob, maybe not out of the bloodline, but turn Jacob into believing that he's the person who's actually calling the better plays. He's the one who gets sent in Roman's stead to make sure that things get done. He's the one who's pulling Jay and Jimmy in line. Because Roman has chastised Jimmy and Jay before about not running the play, taking things into their own hands. Because at this point, Jay is main event Jay. He's been a world champion, but he doesn't pull that stunt with Jacob. Jacob checks him every time. Roman drops the title to LA Knight. The Usos start to question whether Roman is calling the right plays. Jacob, who is swore his loyalty to Roman, is the holdout, right? But deep down, he never believed in Roman. That's why he challenged his punk ass in the first place, right? But he's a man of his word, and he's holding down to what he said. I like the idea of doing something completely different with the bloodline and having the bloodline turn on Roman. They don't want him as the leader anymore. They don't believe in his leadership anymore. And his play calling is causing results that are not like they had before. He loses the title. He's not making the right plays anymore. And we get to see a different side of Roman. And we still get to tell the story of Roman Reigns rising above and Roman Reigns standing on his own. But he's no longer having to stand with the title of the tribal chief. He's no longer have to stand with the title of the head of the table and the pressure that brings, right? And the last arc that we get of Roman in his full-time in-ring career, however full-time looks for Roman, is Roman standing on his own. You know what I'm saying? In a way that some people still criticize him for not being able to do. He stands on his own as Roman Reigns. He's built himself as a character. He's built that equity with the fans. And when he steps away from the family in the way that Solo does, then he is Roman Reigns. And that's the character that he ends up as. Not as a tribal chief, not as the head of the table, not as the big dog, but as Roman. I think that's an awesome fucking story to tell because all the big feuds that he has all speak to the same thing, that Roman can't do it on his own. Roman is not Roman without his family, without the bloodline. Can he be who he is when he's not propped up as a tribal chief, as the head of the table? And I think that requires loss. That's a hero's journey, right? It requires loss. And then from that loss, you show what your true strength is. And if Roman is that millennial talent, that star of the era, he needs that hero's arc. But that's the storytelling part of me coming out. I think it would be great to see. Plus, dude, we don't need to get into the routine of having only certain people hold the top titles all the time. And this would be a good way to move the title around some, right? Get it on some people who deserve to have a title run, right? While still preserving the fact that Roman Reigns is the star. He doesn't actually need the title. But your thoughts before we wrap up.
I have the same thoughts I give you every time you book Nightfall for Roman Reigns. And it's a great arc. I mean, very well written, very well thought out. Not in this reality. Just wait. You're so close. You're so close to getting this. Once Obafemi beats him. Ain't gonna be LA Knight, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
I fear for LA Knight that if you don't put the title on him, like when do you do it? Now, I'm not saying he keeps it. Right? I'm just saying that you're in a position right now where you could put the belt on LA Knight for a time. Roman could challenge LA Knight again, beat him, and win that title back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could win that title back. Hell.
Yes, there are no rules against what you are saying.
You know what I mean? LA Knight could beat him for that title. Roman could win. Oh, wow. I'm about to really piss some people off. I was going to say Roman could win the Rumble, right? Which some people would be pissed off with, right? But Roman could, which you're not going to do that. I'm spitballing here. Roman could win Money in the Bank, do what Seth, he shit on Seth for. But either way you slice it, you could put the title on LA Knight for a while. Roman could challenge him again. He could win it back before he wrestles Oba.
You could.
Or
I don't work yourself up.
Or
it ain't happening, brother.
Listen.
It ain't happening.
Listen, I am going to...
There ain't but one original tribal chief, and he's keeping that one till Oba hits that fall from grace and pins him in the center of the ring.
Brother,
in beautiful Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Brother, I have more faith in the idea that I just put forth than the idea that Roman is just going to be a one-and-done defeat by Obafemi.
Why not? He was one and done. He was, again, we're in this situation. Once Cody beat him, Cody had beat him. Yeah, but it took him 2 to beat him. It ain't taking Oba 2 to beat him. It's taking Oba 1 because it's a different character.
Unless you believe that Brock Lesnar is more powerful of a character than Roman Reigns, then like that logic doesn't stand. It doesn't stand up on its own. It collapses under its own logic. It collapses under its own logic.
If people could stop running when they get Irish whipped, but they keep running.
True.
Don't think too hard. You could bring a gun to a no DQ match, technically.
True.
Shoot him in the leg.
True. But it's
not gonna make sense.
But you make me think. You make me have to think this way when you tell me that Brock losing to Oba and going into retirement was a best of 3. But Roman Reigns, your vaunted tribal chief, the head of the table, the biggest star, the super dude, goes down and won, and that's it. That's crazy talk. If that is the case, they should have done that with Brock because Roman is billed to be over Brock.
Well, I think we kind of agreed that they should have done that with
right,
Brock.
but they didn't. But they didn't.
But
they didn't. And so if I'm going by what seems to be logical, even if I throw out my whole story, even if I throw that whole story out the window, right?
Don't throw it out. It's a nice story.
I'm just saying if I were to set it to the side, even if I were to throw it aside, right?
Yeah, let's not throw it out.
if I were to set it aside, that is a hard sell that Oba beats Roman and that feud is done in one. That's crazy. That's crazier than the idea I just pitched.
Not a prediction. It's a spoiler, brother.
According to who, Paul? According to
Read
who?
me and Ari Emanuel and Triple H.
Well, listen, since you got the inside scoop, why don't you find out why they're not using Jordan Grace? How about that?
We've been too busy looking for Enzo's phone number.
Listen, he ain't hard to find.
We can't find his number.
He ain't hard to find. Just go to Philly and go to that cheesesteak shop that me and Jimmy Dick went to, and you'll find him right there. He's probably talking to some big girls.
Hey, he has got a lovely African American queen.
Good for him.
Have you not seen his woman?
I don't keep up on social media with anything. So no.
Not even Enzo?
No, of course not.
I'm gonna show everyone this. Of course not, Enzo.
No. Enzo is so low on the totem pole of things. Oh, look, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. I'm happy for him. Right? Happy for him. And look, you know where he's at. Somebody could find him. They ain't trying to find him. That's all you needed.
That's all you needed to know what kind of man he is.
They ain't trying to find him. Okay, they ain't trying to find him.
They are
trying to bring Enzo.
I'm holding out hope.
Well, you're gonna be waiting longer than I'm gonna be waiting for Roman to
I know. You keep booking Nightfall, I'll keep booking Enzo.
I like the title of that, Nightfall, though. That's nice. Batman.
I mean, you think you're waiting for Bane to come in and break that spine, but it ain't happening.
Dude, you're talking about Oba's gonna do it in one. Like, what are we talking about? That is literally Nightfall. That is literally Nightfall.
Well, which is why I told you, just wait. It's coming. It's just ain't gonna be LA Knight.
I'm not claiming LA Knight is gonna be the one to break the bat.
I mean, we need Bane. We don't need Calendar Man doing it.
Listen. I don't think that the loss of the title is the breaking of Roman. Like that. That's the thing. I think Roman is Roman, irrespective of whether or not he's holding a title. That.
Yeah, but he's gonna have to figure that out.
What do you mean?
That will be his hero's journey.
Once he Roman loses like without the title?
Once he loses the title and the family, yes.
Right, but the title
we've done that.
Roman, though. Like, that's the whole thing. The title never made Roman. And so
that's what he figures out at the end of the movie.
Well, we already know it, though. First. We already know that. He already knows that.
We know it because we love and acknowledge our tribal chief. He may not know that.
Nah, bro. He already know that. He never said, I'm nothing without the title. I got to have the title, otherwise the family's not going to respect me. And he's never been like that.
He did say he had to beat Seth.
Right, but not because he needed to keep the title. Not because he needed to keep the title. He needed to beat the Seth because he needed to
figure it out when they get there. But I can tell you what, he ain't losing to LA Knight.
To that, I say no. That's the LA Knight version of no. No, it sounds dumb. You imagine if you start saying that, like, no.
That's why I didn't say that earlier. That's why I was in a spot. I just went with anyways, because you can't do it with no.
You can't do no. It doesn't work as well.
That's why he does the na.
Yeah, the na works. I like that. I like that one a lot. Skeeter, please. Oh, damn, I moved my camera. Skeeter, please let everyone know where it is that they can tune in to All Things Lariat Lounge. Not the light, it's bright as hell now. Where you tune into All Things Lariat Lounge and enjoy all of this great banter that comes with this podcast.
If you want to come back next week, if you loved us talking about wrestling, old movies the kids have never seen, I know they're old now, and maybe a great review of Pat McAfee's upcoming debut album, come back, find the Lariat Lounge on YouTube. That's where the home of the Lariat Lounge is. That's where you'll find all our content, podcasts, videos where we go off the rails as always, any WWE 2K26 content, all our PLE live streams. Well, we'll be coming at you live for Sunday night's main event.
Yes, sir.
Here on September 6th on Labor Day weekend. That's where you'll catch us on YouTube. Search the Lariat Lounge. The podcast still goes up in audio form on all your favorite platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your shows, you'll find the Lariat Lounge. Give us a follow over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. DMs are open. We interact with everyone over there, so send us a message, drop us a comment. Go get your merch over on ProWrestlingTees.com. Search the Lariat Lounge. You'll find 10 beautiful designs, 10 great designs. Like Everson said last week, or maybe no one heard, but if you buy a shirt, you will get an executive producer shout out on the show.
Yes.
Not sure if I'm breaking that news or if that made it up or if that's in the lost episode or somewhere out there. But yeah, you buy a shirt, we'll shout you out because we really appreciate everyone's support. And there's some good looking shirts too.
I agree. I'm looking at them right now, bro. They look good.
You want another shout out? Another way? Lariat Lounge, gmail.com. Send us an email.
You know where to find us. You know where to find us. Skinner tell you every week. You should be taking notes. If you're not, just tune back in. Do another listen, another spin. That's great. It counts more than once on YouTube. So if you want to listen to it more than once, listen to it on whatever podcast service you're listening to, and then turn on YouTube, listen to it again. Give us a spin both places. We appreciate it. And leave us a like wherever it is that you are listening to or viewing the podcast. It is free for you. It means a ton for us. We really do appreciate it. And listen, the way that YouTube has or is about to change things up, it's going to make things very difficult for small content creators like us to succeed in spaces like this. I think the changes that they're making are being done to cut down on AI slop content, and I can appreciate that. But at the same time, the threshold that they are putting up now for content to have to cross in order to receive any type of real monetization opportunities is so freaking high. You know, I don't know if we'll ever cross that threshold, but that's not why I did this. It's not why I set this up. It's not why we do this. It's not to get rich off this. I got told very early on from a friend of the show, or I think he's a friend of the show. I don't think he's listening to a single fucking episode, Donnie. But
no chance. No chance in hell.
Not a chance. But he told me, don't do this if you're trying to get rich. And so, you know, I knew that going in, and I'm not concerned with it. But if you do want to see the channel to grow, then, you know, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Leave us a thumbs up if you like what it is that you're watching or you're listening to, and leave us a like rating wherever it is that you're listening, because every little bit genuinely helps, and we genuinely do appreciate it. So come back and check us out next week, where we'll be talking about all things wrestling. We may or may not throw up some 2K26 content. I feel like I owe that to you all because it was part of last week's episode, and I had to cut all of that out just to get the episode up. So we owe you some, and Skeeter and I always we have a genuinely good time playing 2K26 with each other. So maybe we'll get another episode of that up for you guys soon. But we appreciate you all. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. It's genuinely a lot of fun. From your host Everson Godfrey and Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. Watch yourself on the way out.